What's good, everybody? It's your girl, Ticket to Shine. Thank you all so much for tapping in and tuning in to All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. Your girl is back, and I'm here to give you guys a recap of Tyler Perry's The Oval Season 4. And what we're going to start with is Episode 1. This is to catch you up because The Oval will return October 17th, and I want you guys to be prepared. So the synopsis reads as follows. Priscilla and Grip face off. President Franklin seeks to indulge his vices. Jason's autopsy reveals a stunning revelation, and Sam asks Richard to attend an important rendezvous. And this one is entitled The Package, okay? Alright, you guys. So when we last saw The Oval, there was just so much going on. So much craziness. The president, Franklin, he was just pulling up on folks, just doing whatever he wanted to do. Hunter, he's garbage. We already know that. So anyway, you guys, let's dive in. When we get back, we see that Priscilla and Grip and Alan are literally in a standoff. So Grip pulls up at at Alan's door, and he's there to unalive Alan. But thankfully, Priscilla is there, and she basically stops the whole altercation by pulling her blicky on Grip, and then Grip decides to quote unquote take Alan hostage. And then with all the back and forth conversation, they both end up over on a banister and they fall to the ground. So then, you guys, we see at Richard and Nancy's home, the group has assembled. That group consists of Dale, Sharon, and Kareem. And then in walks the one and only President Hunter Franklin himself. And of course, Nancy is, oh, Mr. President, come on in. But then she's like, how did you even get in my house? How did you even get in here? And of course, Nancy knows what the president has been doing to Sharon. He's been trying to get close to her, trying to get her to, move into this house, offering her money. And Sharon is not here for the shenanigans. So Nancy is like, well, first of all, how did you get in my house? Why are you here? So Hunter makes up a story that he's here to see Richard. And of course, he's like, oh, so you're the butler's wife. You know good and well she's the butler's wife. So he asks Nancy, did Sharon tell you what I offered her? So he's big and bold and saying all this in front of Dale as well as Kareem. And he lets her know, I offered her a house, I'd offer her, money, I offered stock, so on and so forth. And, I thought that she would have told you so a woman like you could give her advice on making the right decision. So then he says once Sharon says that she's not with it, she doesn't want anything from the president, then he tries to be shady. The president tries to throw a little shade and says that, you should, I thought a woman like you, such as Nancy, would be able to convince her. But now she needs to look at you and look at this house so that she doesn't end up like you. So the president just threw shade at Nancy. I wasn't with that, of course. But then everybody is trying to go use their phones and so off. Of course, because the president is in the area, literally everybody's tones and signals have been blocked, so nobody can really use their phone. But Hunter is walking out of the house of Richard and Nancy, and of course, it's our favorite community neighbor, the one and only Miss Jody. And Miss Jody is out there, and she's like, hey, Mr. President, and, can I take a picture with you? And he's like, oh, you want to take a picture with me? Well, you can't take a picture with me. She was like, oh, well, I don't like you. I didn't even vote for you. I just wanted everybody to know that your ass was in the neighborhood. So you guys already know Miss Jody is going to go in no matter what, and no matter who it is, she's going to give them a nice, swift piece of her mind. Then Miss Jody sees Alonzo and she's like, "Hey, Dominican, you like some dark meat or some brown meat?" Listen, Miss Jody is off the chain. She will flirt with anyone and any sexy man that comes along. But I'm here for it all. Gotta love Miss Jody, okay? And then you guys, then we see that there was a standoff inside this little dungeon, this little underground hideout, or this little underground prison in the White House. Of course, you have to have a code to get into the cage that Cal is in. But Bobby Baby, he and Bobby Baby have a blicky pop out. Okay, so Cal runs out of blicky pops. Okay, I have to use these different terms, but you guys know what I mean. So Cal runs out of blicky pops, and finally Bobby is able to basically subdue him because he goes into the bar in the jail cell with him, and he begins to tie him up. But then he gets in the process of, letting Max know, "Hey, I got your boy Cal, and we're gonna secure him for now. We're gonna do what we gotta do, but we have to preserve him for what we're trying to do with the bigger picture." But of course, Max is not with the whole bigger picture. Max wants to take out Cal simply because of what Kyle did to him. He tried to unalive him. So then we see at this couple's house right here. Listen, Donald and Lily, oh my gosh, you guys on the last season, these two had a whole Mr. and Mrs. Smith shootout, pop out, whatever you want to call it. They had that whole moment, and this is what remains. The two of them are both hurt. They're both injured. He has an injury to the wound, and she has an injury to her shoulder. His people run in, and they attempt to, save him by putting pressure on his wound, and he's telling them, "Don't let that bee get away. Don't let her get away." And Lily is really trying her best to get away from this whole situation because she wants to get away from Donald. So at this point, she has a bullet in her shoulder, and she's being held hostage. So then we see Alonzo and y'all favorite Hunter, Mr. President, in the vehicle, and he says, "I want you to find me a big booty black woman with some big boobs." Like, Hunter is just disgusting, and he wants the cocoa. He wants the cocaine, you guys. He wants to get high. So, of course, Alonzo, and I'm going to call him Scary Cat Alonzo at this point, because even though he knows that everything that Hunter is doing is wrong, he still is going to do it. He's that yes man. He's too afraid to be that no man in this situation. So then back at the Holston's house, Sharon is straight mad at Kareem because she's like, you're talking all this trash now, but when he was here, you didn't have anything to say. So Sharon is just straight. She got an attitude with Kareem because he didn't want to, go up against the president. He was afraid. I mean, but would you guys have really went up against Hunter, the president of the United States, who has already threatened to unalive Kareem? Drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts. If you would have been bold enough to, would you have pulled a Miss Jody? Would you have been able to go off on the president, considering all that he is capable of? So then Kareem gets beside himself, and of course they're arguing, and Miss Nancy is like, y'all stop the arguing. We can't really do this right now. We need to be trying to figure out how to get along. And she's still, she's filming. Sharon is upset. And Kareem decides to pop off and say, well, Barry didn't even come downstairs. Barry didn't even come, just throwing shade on Barry. And y'all, keep paying attention, because right now, nobody notices that Barry is missing. They think he's upstairs somewhere in the bedroom. That's all I'm saying. So then, you guys, we see Victoria, and she's talking to the White House doctor, who tells her, I'm sorry for the loss of your son, and we're going to perform an autopsy. It's standard procedure for the White House. and I'm sorry to tell you, but your son, he had a tumor. And Victoria's like, what? He had a tumor? Like, I didn't know anything about this. Of course, you don't know that he had a tumor. But anyway, I'm going to tell y'all why. I'm going to tell y'all why. Just stay tuned. So anyway, Victoria's like, well, we're just going to go ahead and, cremate him. And, because that's what we do. That's our religion. And he says, but you're a Catholic. So, of course, Victoria is basically trying to get rid of Jason's body so that, they can move on and they can pin all of the problems of the White House literally on Jason. So then, you guys, we see Max and Rich at the hospital. And, of course, they're there to try to protect Sam. Of course, Max, reminds Richard, hey, he needs to be protected because something is going on. Something's not right. They did this to him. And Max, of course, is on his way to go and try to take out Kyle. So then, you guys, we see Richard as well as the one and only Sam, who was cheating with the president's wife, Victoria. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, you guys, we do see him with the bullet. Now, keep in mind, he was popped by Kyle. So Kyle was in the cell and they had their little pop off, but he ended up taking one from Kyle. Of course, Kyle sustained no injuries, but then here we are. Sam is in the hospital. They're going to have to undergo emergency surgery to help remove the bullet from wherever it is located in his body. But Sam, he tells Richard, I need you to go specifically to a place, but I also need you to call Priscilla and let her know what's going on. So then we see Priscilla and she's calling Sam back to back to back. Of course, Sam is not answering his phone because he's at the hospital, but she's calling and calling and calling. So then we see, of course, again, Bobby receives a call, and again, he receives a call from Max. Max is on his way to do some damage to Kyle. We got to keep watching to see how much damage is going to be done. But that's what this whole interaction is all about. And of course, Kyle is just, Kyle's going to be Kyle. Kyle's going to talk that trash until he can't anymore. So then we see back at Donald and Lily's. Donald is being treated. However, they are not helping Lily at all. Lily is in excruciating pain. And she basically, she was in so much pain till she ended up literally passing out. So then, you guys, we see Donald, he receives a phone call from Grip, and he's talking to Grip, and he's like, so what happened? And Grip says, they got away. So you mean to tell me Priscilla and Alan got away? And then Donald proceeds to tell Grip to unalive himself. He says, where's your blicky? And Grip says that they took the blicky from me. Okay, well, do you have a knife? And Grip says, yes, I have a knife. He says, use that knife to stick it in your forehead. So he's just giving this man the order, and he says that's an order. He's just giving him an order to take his own life. Poor Grip. But he put himself in this predicament to deal with Donald and his shenanigans. So then we see back at Nancy's home, Nancy receives a phone call from Richard. Of course, Priscilla and Alan have made their way, and everybody seems to end up at Nancy and Richard's home. But Priscilla and Alan have made their way there, and Nancy is on the phone. Of course, Priscilla asks, can she come in? But Nancy says, hey, this is, she receives a phone call from Richard, and Richard is saying, she tells him Priscilla's here. He says, okay, let me speak with Priscilla. And then Richard proceeds to let Priscilla know that Sam has been shot, but he's going to be okay. He's going to have emergency surgery. I need you to stay there at my house with Nancy so that we can, so that you can be protected, because it's going to be some craziness going on, you guys. So anyway, in the process of Richard, having that conversation and trying to assure everyone to, just stay in place, because right now I have to go and do something. Now, initially, and this is where it comes in, where they're talking about the package. So initially, While at the hospital, Sam tells Richard, hey, I need you to go. There's a package I need you to check on, and I need you to basically go to this address, and here's the details. So he gives him the details, and again, this is why Richard can't be at the house right at the moment, because he is in the process of going to check on that package. So then Richard is seen making his way to this cabin that's literally out in the woods. So everything to me involving the woods, the Rakadushi are somewhere near. So anyway, we're not talking about the Rakadushi right now. We're talking about who the freak is in this doggone cabin. And when he walks in, after going through a series of answering questions with this Black Ops agent, he sees that Jason is in the bed. And of course, on the next episode, on episode 2, this is where it's going to get tricky, because Jason is supposed to be unalived. But now we see what the package is and what it was that Sam was trying to protect. And he says that this particular package is going to shut all of this stuff down. All right, y'all. Let me know y'all thoughts. Majority of y'all probably already watched season 4 of Tyler Perry's The Oval. If you haven't, if you're just finding me for the first time, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I promise I will be bringing the entire season 4 recap to you guys, just to catch us up. So look out for these videos. You'll probably get 1 or 2 per day until October 17th for season 5's return, okay? All right, y'all, that's about it. Thank you so much for tapping in and tuning in. And you already know, stay ruthless.